Welcome everybody. This is our My Life, My Business, Wish I Was Here room. And we've got a topic today, and it's quite interesting that our theme is just rolling on, because when I interact with clients and I ask them what is the meaning of success or definition of success to them, the general, I would say mostly the definition is success is the achievement of goals. And so is it no wonder that since we started this year, we've been talking about everything related to goals. Last week we spoke about self-sabotage. This week I want to take you through the pain or gain tool with respect to goals. So what I want you to do, if you've got a pen and pencil ready, depending on where you are, or if you don't have a pen and pencil ready, get it ready in your mind. So I just want us to do this. Now there's two categories, right? There's the current category, so it's the now, and then we'll do the future category. So it's very simple. All right, let me just explain how you think about it. So we're going to do the first category, which is the now. All right. So what I'd like you to do is think about a goal, right, that you set for yourself last year and you did not achieve it. Or even if you set the goal at the beginning of this year and you've made no progress, you haven't even initiated the first step towards achieving the goal. So what I want you to do is write that down. Don't think too deeply or too hard. Just write it down, capture it somewhere. And then the first question is just jot down the reasons for not pursuing the goal. And the reasons for not pursuing the goal is, the reframe question is, in other words, what pleasure do you derive for not taking the steps toward the goal? Now, if you listen to it, you're not doing anything towards the goal, no progress. So the question is, what pleasure are you deriving from not taking the steps to implement the goal? All right, it's kind of got to think a little bit, because normally we ask the question differently, but that's the first question. So I'll give you just a few seconds, jot it down somewhere. So once again, what is the gain in not taking the necessary steps towards the goal? Now the second question is, what is the pain involved in pursuing the goal? In other words, when we talk about pain here, it's kind of the discomfort, the anxiety, the cost or the sacrifice, right? And just to kind of list those things down, as we do so. So normally as a reaction, you don't have to put your mic on, is that if you following what we're talking about, you can just flash your mic on and on to say, okay, no, we're with you. We're following this exercise. Just see if it works. I mean, simply, if I put myself on this, basically what it look like. Flash. Everybody following and trying the exercise with me? We don't have a lot of time, so we kind of have to do it quickly. So, thank you, Claudine and Kevin. Wonderful. Somebody left. There's a few. Okay, there is Carlo. All right, I'm going to allow Alistaire in the background just to invite the rest that have joined us. Thank you for joining us. We've started. Alistair is going to just invite you onto stage. Just mute yourself as soon as you're on stage. You don't have to speak if you don't want to. If you want to speak, you'll just flash your mic. For those that have just joined us. So I'll let Alistair click on your profile and bring you onto stage as we go along. So a few of you are participating in this exercise. Fantastic. Right, now the next part. Future. You asked, if you listen to the question, it goes this way. Is number one, what would be the anticipated gain or pleasure or benefit of achieving the goal, right? You've looked at this goal, you're reviewing the goal, and now you got to make a decision. Now, if you're saying, but Jacques, quite clearly there's pleasure in not making progress towards a goal, and then there's also the pain associated. Why then do I want to achieve? I would say, okay, choose another goal. If that's not the one you really want to achieve, choose another one, and then the other goal, you ask yourself, what would be the anticipated gain or pleasure or benefit of achieving this goal? Really be descriptive. Make sure that you tapping into your emotions when you put this down. All right. So you got, and once again, it's whatever comes to mind, but make sure it's not the standard one. Trying to really connect with yourself, yeah, and then anticipating, right, in future, like going forward, and we're talking about tomorrow, if you like, is this is the pain part. What would be the anticipated cost, sacrifice, trade-off, right, in pursuing this goal? It's either the same goal that you decided maybe you still want to do it this year, or it's a new goal that you set for yourself and you haven't started yet, but man, oh man, this you ask. So what would be the associated sacrifice, cost for pursuing this? There's always a trade-off, right? When you schedule something in your diary, you block something out, that's the trade-off, right? You can't use that time for anything else but the activity assigned to it, and that's a trade-off, as simplistic as that may sound. Okay, so what you also then write down when it comes to the future goals, so we're talking from tomorrow onwards, this is the $1,000,000 question. Is my anticipated gain, whether you think in terms of pleasure that I'm going to gain from this, the fruit, even if you use that word, the benefit, is that going to be bigger than the anticipated pain, the anticipated sacrifice, the cost that you'll have to pay, the trade-off that you'll have to make in pursuing this goal? So those are the questions, right? And for those that have been following, all right, as simple as that is. Now, for those of you who would like to share, we're going to start with just the first part. It's either you share your just what this exercise feels like to you, or you actually just share, because I think we're beginning to know each other. We're quite close-knit in this room. Is here's my goal, and sure, this is the pleasure that I have derived from not pursuing the goal. We never think like that. It's like counterintuitive. And then the cost associated with it. And then share with us where you rest. Okay, does this exercise help you cast this goal aside and say, no, I'm putting this to bed. I don't want to do this. So Alistaire, to prepare everybody and see who would like to perhaps be as bold to share, I'm assuming you were following this exercise as well. So any thoughts, maybe generally, either exactly the exercise, or is this a worthwhile way of just assessing, making sure that you, first of all, very decisive of what you're aiming at, and then if you still want to achieve it, does this introspection help?
Certainly, Jacques. I think it gives you almost a 360 perspective on goals achieved, goals not achieved, and it tackles it from all sides. I learned the principle. What's the guy used to? Dr. Phil. He introduced this concept of what's the reward for not achieving your goal. And the example he made was you would often speak to a lady that's in um, an abusive relationship who is still in that. And the question you would ask, what's your payoff for staying there? And the person
Mm-hmm.
says, but what do you mean? What do I get out of it? I'm being abused. He says, well, if you're still there, then it means you're getting something out of it. And sometimes the simple answer for is that I don't have to go look for another place. I don't have to go and work. And that's the reward for the negativity that they experience. So it's a difficult, I must say, it's a very difficult thing to wrap your mind around to say, if I'm not achieving my goal, what's the reward I'm getting? If I'm achieving my goal, what's the pain I experience through? It's almost twisting your brain to be able to answer this. Um, but because I've been exposed to it uh, quite a long time ago, it's now easy, well, easier for me.
Easier. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, a typical example is, say, say you've set yourself the goal that, or last year that you wanted to pursue studies, right? That you were going to register for some degree or diploma or some course. In actual fact, you did register and you needed to complete the year. But the only thing you did was register. And you might have even attended the classes, you might have even attended the submitted the assignments, but when it came to exam time, it was now the crunch time. You needed to sit and prepare, etc. And suddenly you found yourself not doing it. But this was something that at the beginning of the year you were convinced that you wanted to do. So the point is, so what was the gain for not pursuing this goal? Well, I can give you some examples I've heard over the years. Is well, I enjoy watching weekend evening soccer, especially Europa League and whatever. So the gain for not sitting and studying was I could watch my favorite sport, and that was the absolute gain. And so, okay, so that was the pleasure. Knew I was not doing what I said for myself, but I was enjoying the fact that I could pursue this. And then associated with this was what was the discomfort? And you know what the question was? Was fear of failure. I haven't written exams for so long, and now I have to go write the exams. I think I'm going to fail, and so why even bother? And it is quite interesting that that is where the conversation leads when you able to explain it that way. Now, Alistair, I mean, talking from abuse, that's very hard hitting, but also it gets to the real core of your own motives. And it's not meant to judge you, right, if there's no progress. But what the first part helps you with, the pain gain matrix, is you know what, if the gain or the benefit of not doing something, right, is far greater than the reward of actually doing it, then decide whether you still want to do it. Because the only thing comes is that you made a promise not to yourself, you made a promise to somebody else, and now out of sheer, let's say, responsibility to the you've made yourself accountable, maybe that's a better way of putting it, you made yourself accountable to somebody, and now you feel obligated but totally not engaged to do it. All right, for those two things. So who wants to share? Carlo?
All right, it's happened. Thank you so much for speaking over here. So yeah, I was actually, as I was listening, I was just analyzing my situation over here, and very interesting insight that I'm getting. Something that I've never realized before. But here's like there's two property strategies that I got, right? So the one strategy is the traditional strategy of buying houses and things like that. And there's a lot of learning involved there as well. A lot of things I still need to do. And then there's the other strategy that's far more easier. It's I would say it's much more pleasurable. It's less risk. It's a very nice strategy. And it's almost like going into the strategy where I'm buying houses right now seems like it would be more painful than actually going out and doing my other strategy, which is rent to rent of beach houses and stuff like that. So that's pleasurable as well. And I take it like that. If I can get properties like that, then I've got like, nice cash flow. And with that cash flow, I can study nice because I can even study at the beach house regularly. I can look at what I'm saying? Like the sea views and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so pleasurable to do that strategy first
Mm-hmm.
before I actually go into the other one. And I think I've been caught in that loop for a while as whole time. So it's very interesting realization though.
Okay, so my question to you is that all right? With this realization, what are you going to do with this realization? I mean, what would be the next step? Was it just good to realize it?
Good question. uh, yeah, real realization is obviously realizing the insight of what I've got. So from here forward, I'm happy with what you guys said was just to change the goal. I know there might be outside pressures and things for me to do the other thing that is stressing me a lot.
Mm,
Um, I guess it's best for me to just follow my heart. You know what I'm saying? Change my
mm,
goal. Go out there, do the first thing, because I know I'd be able to perform better afterwards in the other thing if I first do this one step.
mm,
This is just
mm.
pivoting and also explaining my why I need to pivot so the people around me can understand as well why I need to pivot.
Wonderful. That's an excellent example, and sharing, and your insight with us is precious. Thank you, Carlo. Great stuff. I mean, uh, what the other practical thing is and obviously would like somebody else to also share, but if you think about just health and vitality goals that we set for ourselves, generally, just think about it. We can all relate to this, right? Where it's a combination of having an eating plan and then having some sort of an exercise plan together with all these things, and to really ask yourself these two questions is that you set your goal, and depending on how you set your goal, if you said, well, I want to exercise more. Well, okay, it's an activity that you kind of intending to carry out, but to what end? But let's say it's one of those. In my case, at my age, I know that for my height, my goal weight should be around about 75. It's maximum. I'm going for the ceiling. My goal weight must be 75 kilograms. Okay, that's my goal weight. And the range is actually 65, from 65 to 75 for my height. All right, anything over that, I'm a little obese. Well, overweight, basically. I mean, even saying that makes me cringe, but yes. So it would be, all right, that good old, I'm going to the gym. So I sign up and I'm all, and by the way, with it, when you do it via Discovery, Vitality Points, you get it cheap. It's not even a lot of money, so there's no financial objection that I have to overcome. And I've got it all. I've got a glow of satisfaction. I have joined, and Vitality says, okay, now that you have joined at some ridiculous low price, you need to go to the gym at least 4 times a month. So now I suddenly feel obligated to go. Guess what happens? This has now happened three successive cycles of it. I just eventually lost my Vitality subscription, where it just automatically converts to a full membership. It's like, so the pain was pretty simply in this case of now I'm obligated. I need to do the minimum that discovery requires, forgetting the main reason, the main benefit of wanting to go to the gym in the first place. And here's the thing. I said I wanted to get to my goal of 75 kilograms, but why actually, what was the real um, end point that I was aiming at? What was the real destination? I think the real destination was I'm a bit of a hoarder, so um, when I love hand me downs, especially when it used to come from my father. So I've outgrown a piece of an item of clothing, so I needed to lose some weight. So instead of saying restating it into I'd like to fit into the outfit, because if I did that, that would have been the absolute benefit of achieving the goal, and it would have outweighed the pain of being obligated to discovery as an idea. Okay, so let's see. Would anybody else like to just share an example of can you practically resonate with this kind of tool, this way of thinking? Carlos shared a beautiful example. Let me just check in on Mpo. Are you there?
Hi, Jacques. Yes, I'm here.
All right. Would you like to give it a go?
Of course. When you were talking about today's topic and giving us the tool that we can use, obviously, I went straight to my goal of waking up in the morning and assessing waking up at 5. So that's been my biggest struggle. And I've kind of started and then fell off and started again. Now I'd like it to stick. And I never imagined using the tool that you're talking about now. So it's helped me just to assess and think about designing a routine in the morning that I'm also happy with. So apart from just seeing the weakness in the type of activity that the effort I've been giving, it's also wanting to design something that I'm excited to do in the morning.
Okay. Oh, great. Thanks, Mpo.
Thank you.
Is there a question?
Yeah, just maybe a question and a thought as well. We or for me, sometimes I've got multiple goals, and so some of them are easy to kind of focus on, and then maybe some of the others, I'm not sure if it's like maybe if it sort of the pain or the gain of not doing the goals that I'm focused on might be just to just to remain in that comfortable space where you're not pushing yourself or you're exerting yourself too much or stepping out of your comfort zone. One of my goals for the year is to connect with at least 100 business leaders in our community. So and that is quite a challenging one for me, and and I got going, and then I just stopped because it's like, okay, I have to phone people and I have to. So yeah, I don't know if it's, and then I've got another goal at the moment, which is um, I'm getting ready for some sporting event, and so for the next 30 days, I'm just doing like my goal is to do 500 body squats a day, for 30 days, and so that goal seems to be going very well because I'm one third into this goal, and I haven't skipped a day yet, and I've gone from 200 squats a day to 300 squats a day, and so I'm well on course. So yeah, I'm not sure, like, is there, like, is it a psychological thing that you are more motivated towards certain things, or is there kind of a pressure that comes with maybe you being focused more on one particular goal instead of the other? uh, I think it does relate to the question that Jacques has been answering, like, what's the gain, what is the pain, and yeah, so yeah, it's kind of you have to look deep into your heart now at this moment. What's really going on there.
Well, Kevin, is actually that's quite a cool example as well. Is so you see, you've got these two things. One about the 100 business leaders in your community that you want to meet, and it's kind of ground to a halt. Then there's the other one with the squats. You set a goal of 200, now you're doing 300, and you haven't skipped a day. So the one that you're actually doing is real. And let me tell you, just while listening to you, is that the benefit of doing it absolutely outweighs the sacrifice, the cost of doing it for you. Then there's a net benefit, right? Net value is being added to you. Something you love doing it. The there's real progress that you're seeing. You're feeling good while doing it. All those kinds of things. So psychologically, there's such a feeling, and basically you remember I don't know if you were here previously, we spoke about some of the chemicals that are being passed into your bloodstream, and the two sets, there are a lot more, but the two main ones currently, especially when you're doing the squats, would be the endorphin rush as well as the dopamine rush. And so your dopamine levels, that excitement of looking forward to do it, is definitely there because you can see, taste, and experience the benefit of doing what you're doing. So it's really, when you look at it, is ask yourself, well, what is this benefit? There's either an unconscious benefit, is all about your feelings. You get in there, you feel good when you do it, and then you keep on doing it to feel good. But something is happening, and it's harnessing that and asking yourself, when it comes to the other goals, well, why aren't I not tapping into this in this area? And the thing about it is not ought to or I should. You just say, am I or am I not? Make the decision. Do I rather shelve this now so I can focus on this? See, it's the difference between really enjoying what you're doing. In this case, you've set the goal, you're achieving it. The other one, is it aspirational? Is it something that you ought to be doing? Is it something you said, I want to do this? Is it there to meet another deeper underlying goal that you haven't articulated yet, so that you can associate the pleasure, the benefit of actually doing it, and outweighing the sacrifice? That's the net, always having a net benefit, is asking yourself those questions. So Kevin, I don't know if it even begins to address your question, because it sounds to me like you got a bit more homework to do.
Thanks, Jacques. It does, yeah. And I do have a lot of homework to do. Thank you for that too.
All right. Alistair, our
Wow.
time has come so quickly to an end, and I think, I don't know, Alistair, if that's okay, if we can handle just one more question or comment or share with somebody else. Is it Ryan?
Ryan, or you can call me Ray.
Oh, Ray. Okay, Ray,
Yeah,
please
short of
shoot.
for Ray. Hope you guys are doing well. So my thing was, or my sense of feeling, like I'm in my current job, it's my passion, but my goals is having a lot of multiple streams of income. I'm trying to, how can I say, well, I have a few going, but it's not automated where, in the sense of, I'm at my current job in order to sustain me, but also I want to be able to have time on my hands, to have things running. I sometimes sit and think, like, do I need to do more courses in order to earn more money so I can pump more money into the businesses so that the business can eventually sustain itself, so that I don't need to work or delegate. So I constantly procrastinate about these things, and I never had a coach or someone going through life that told me this is the guide, or you need to do this. Was a business failed, and I got up and I tried something else. COVID came, I had a business going, and it was going good, and it went down because COVID was a stumbling block, and I had to re-strategize. What can I do that is a need, or it's not maybe going to take up a lot of my time, or yeah, that's just my thought of thinking. And like for me, like family is important, and also you want to have time with the family, but also you want to be able to give that family everything, in the sense of you also not, how can I say, abusing yourself with work and time. So where do you find the balance in that, and setting goals?
Alistair, you want to tackle that one?
So Ray, it's that's one of those loaded. I don't know if you loaded questions. I don't know if you realize, but there were multiple questions that you asked, and it's very loaded, and certainly needs way more than just 2 minutes response. But let me say this out of experience. I thought of, Jacques, how if there's a goal that you have, and Ray, I'm not sure I'm going to answer your question, but in detail, but just a perspective. If there's a goal that you have that you're not achieving or you have not achieved, so there's a pain, what's the pain and what's the gain? So often in a case like that, another goal is rewarded, and that becomes this goal's pain. In other words, I'm 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 getting to follow the other goal, but it becomes the pain because you can't concentrate on this one. And so often when we do little and we want to increase uh, our well-being, by that I mean generally our wealth, our health, family, etc., we end up doing a whole lot more, which is not wrong, and that may be an answer. But often, and when we do a whole lot of things, we find that we're still not doing that much, and then the opposite is the answer, is to scale down on what you focus on, and rather focus on one or two or three things, give it your best attention, and what you might find is that your return of investment for the effort you put in the three instead of 5 or 10 is way better than what you have 5 businesses. So often one business or two businesses brings you a better return than five. But I must say the disclaimer is life as we live it now at this current season of the universe is not as easy as I suggest you do the one or I suggest you do the other.
Thank you, Alistair. I've
Yes.
got Ray. I just got to say, when you were talking, I thought we were getting closer to where the pain point was, and you actually said it. Your trade off is you want to work and run your businesses successfully for your family, but at the same time you value spending time with your family, and that tension is the balancing point for you. That's the optimality that you, because do too much on the one side, in the present tense, spending time with your family, that is the pain that is sometimes too much for you to bear, because that sacrifice is 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 not worth it for you. So the question is not always the different things that you're doing, is the impact on the underlying reason for pursuing those things. Provide for my family, spend time with my family. Those are the two things that are sort of what I can come up with for you in this sense, just to support what Alistair is also saying.
Yeah, and just what helps me with that balance is our families are often asking way less of us than what we want to give them. And what they're actually asking us is not more things, but more time. Um, and so sometimes the pressure you put on yourself, Ray, is you've got this idea, this um, figure in your mind as to what it means to look well after your family. But as Jacques says, it also, if you pursue that, it's going to come at the very cost of what you really want to achieve, and that's to spend time with your family. So it's a very tricky one that needs deep and extensive conversation for you. Otherwise, you're going to run in a circle, do less, and then it doesn't work, and then I do more, doesn't work, and then I do less again. We trust that that was a little bit helpful, Ray. Maybe just feedback from you.
Very much. It gives me, I would say, a lot of clarity. It makes me see things in a different light, or the perspective was much broader than I thought. Thank you, Alistair and Jacques.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Ray. Alistair, we've gone over by 11 minutes, so I'm going to let you to do the smooth
Goodbye.
facilitator thing that you always do so well.
Well, I say thank you, Jacques. You really did justice to this. Thanks for everybody for coming. And this is a platform where we want to invite people to talk about my life, my business. I wish I was here. And I've had many feedbacks from people say, I wish other people can come onto the platform. Well, you don't have to ask Jacques and I for permission. Just invite them. Give them the Clubhouse link. Give them the link that we send out every week. We just want to do this. This is what Jacques and I are doing to give. We're giving and we're giving it freely. So if you have a friend or a family who really needs to have these conversations, then feel free to invite them. Well, everybody, thank you for coming. See you next week, 4 o'clock on the dot. We're going to try and stick to 30 minutes, as promised. But you keep well, keep safe, and work on what you are meant to do. You are designed to succeed. We wish you well. Thank you.